just gone 11:15 now. The Department of Health has confirmed it's planning to introduce vaccines for teenagers in England against a strain of meningitis known as Meningitis W. The number of cases quadrupled last year. Tracey Saunders lost her teenage son, Edward, to that particular strain of the virus 18 months ago. She's here together with her daughter, Edward's sister, Emily. Tracey, thanks very much indeed for joining us. I'm really sorry for all you've been through. If you can bear to, can you just tell us the story of what happened to you and Edward?
Yeah. Hello, Adrian. Well, it was just unbelievable and shocking. Edward was just a perfect son. He had gone to a concert on the Saturday evening to watch Pink Floyd at Wembley. He came home. He had a full Sunday dinner. He was absolutely fine. We had friends over, and at 6:30, he went down to his room. He rang me and he said, "Oh, Mum, I feel cold." And I made him some cheese on toast. Took it down, and Mark, my husband, was down there, and he said, "Oh, Dad, I've got cold feet." And Mark gave him his slippers, put his dressing gown on, and we decided to turn the heating on. The next thing we know is at 11:30 he rings me again, says he's got a headache. I'd taken him paracetamol. He said, "Mum, I just need to get to sleep." And I said, "Yep, you just need to get to sleep," because he'd been at a concert all night. And then at 2:30 he rang me and said he felt sick. I took him a bowl and he was sick. I asked him what he'd eaten, and he said he'd had a dodgy chicken kebab. Anyway, I called the doctor came. The doctor thought he had food poisoning. She couldn't get him a blood pressure, and then she called the ambulance and we were rushed to the BRI. We got to the BRI at 7:20 with a team of consultants and registrars and doctors, and they could do nothing, and he was dead by 10 o'clock.
So what could you have known beforehand about this strain of meningitis that might have changed the situation? Because the symptoms look entirely consistent with, well, you know, we all get cold feet now and then, sort of metaphorically and physically, and then we all eat a dodgy kebab now and then and end up feeling sick afterwards. It's difficult what you could have done to be any different, what you could have done any different.
I think that's what Public Health England are now saying. This particular strain of meningitis, Meningitis W, meningococcal septicemia, it's a particularly aggressive strain in the UK at the moment, and it has increased by 431% in the UK in the last 5 years. So I'm pleased that they agree that teenagers between the age of 14 to 18 are going to have an immediate vaccine for this group W, because even the doctors and consultants and public health are saying the symptoms you just cannot recognise that it's meningitis. Even doctors can't recognise it. And the usual rash, Edward didn't have that. He didn't have a problem with bright lights, and he didn't have the stiff neck.
Emily, Edward's sister, is here, as I said. What would you like to see going forward to come out of this tragedy that's befallen your family?
Gosh, the biggest thing is for meningitis. I think it's fantastic that they're putting the vaccination out there now. It's so important, like my mum was saying, the symptoms are so similar to what you might expect in everyday life that you just can't tell what it is. And I think it would just be incredible if all children could just be vaccinated against this. It's something that I don't want anyone to go through. We've been trying to support that as well. We're supporting a charity called Meningitis Now. And one of the things as well that I'd like to see is, naturally, is for my brother, I want to keep his memory going, and many of you might have heard that we're publicising a book on behalf of him, a children's book called Roby and the Dentist. So those together, I think, are powerful things to keep going on.
What's the dentist got to do with it? You've confused me now.
When Edward was younger, him and I used to go to the dentist together, and every time we go to the dentist, I would get in the seat and I'd be out of the seat 2 seconds later. I'd never have a problem with teeth. Whereas my brother, he'd be in there for a couple of minutes and the dentist would be umming and ahhing. And so when he was asked to write, as a school assignment, a book for a child, he decided to write it on a dentist appointment, where the dentist actually says, your teeth don't have to be white to be healthy. They can still be yellow and be healthy. And that was the biggest thing, I think, for Edward. He wrote this book, Roby and the Dentist, because he'd probably recently been to the dentist. And that was quite big for him, knowing that even though his teeth probably weren't as great, they were still really healthy.
When you worked in the studio, one of the first things I noticed was the whiteness and the evenness of your teeth, though. So you've obviously kept up the good work on the dental health front.
It's not me at all. It's not me at all.
Okay, let's speak to Christopher Head, Chief Executive of the Meningitis Research Foundation. Christopher, tell us about this vaccination.
Well, it's going to cover this particular new, very aggressive strain. As you've just heard, it's a really nasty type of meningitis, this Meningitis W. It's actually rolled up with vaccinations against 3 other types of meningitis, that's A, C and Y. So it's actually very good news, and we're really pleased, just as Edward's family are, that this is being introduced now. We have flagged this up a little while ago, and we've been urging the Department of Health and the government to take this seriously. So it is actually very good news. I think that this is going to be coming along very soon, and it's a catch-up campaign for all 14 to 18-year-olds. They are the most at-risk group, and so this is very welcome. But actually, we are starting to see 1 or 2 cases in very young children. This vaccine won't help them. There is yet another vaccine against a particular type of meningitis called meningitis B, but that would also cover this strain. And we'd also say to the government, pull your fingers out and get that one in too, so that the job is done completely.
So I hadn't got round to worrying about different strains of meningitis. I was just worrying about meningitis generally. So what is it particularly about this strain?
Well, all forms of meningitis and septicemia develop very quickly. Their early signs and symptoms are hard to distinguish, as we've just been hearing. And they can be life-threatening or can leave survivors with really very, very severe disabilities. I mean, we're talking about amputations or severe brain damage. So it's a really nasty disease. The fact is that there are a number of different bacteria that can cause it. And at the moment, there isn't a universal vaccine. So you do need to have a vaccine that picks off the individual strains of meningitis for full protection. We've got a tremendous track record, actually, with certain types of meningitis in this country, and we've done very well in the past in dealing with some of it. But we need to see the full suite brought in, and that's why this is good news about the ACWY vaccine, but also the government could do more and introduce the MenB vaccine as well.
So how does it happen? You just you get notified by your GP or through school or what?
Yeah, I mean all children up to the age of 1 year, so babies effectively, do have a national immunisation programme, and you get a letter from your GP. And it's not just meningitis vaccines, of course. There are various other vaccines for all sorts of other things like polio and TB and so on. And actually, that package of vaccines over the years has proved immensely successful.
Okay, thanks very much, Christopher Head, Chief Executive of Meningitis Research Foundation. Just a final word from you, Tracey. It's come late, but it's plainly good that some good can come from you talking about what you went through.
It's great news. And I've been on the BBC Breakfast show this morning, and we were talking about our publication of Roby and the Dentist, and it's on Kickstarter, and we're asking people to pledge and get their own copy of Roby and the Dentist to honour and celebrate Edward's life. And the response has been massive, and I've had people from Switzerland and lots of lovely messages and people backing our project to publish a book for Edward. And I shall be glad if meningitis is a thing of the past in the UK.
Okay, thank you very much indeed, Tracey Saunders. And Emily, nice to meet you too.
Thank
Just give
you.
the book one more plug, why don't you, while you're here? What's it called again?
Brody and the Dentist.
On Kickstarter.
Okay, right.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much indeed, both